Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me for the Back on Stage demo today. My name is Ruben Avery and I will be taking you through a few of our cool features that are going to help you do a much better job of running your band or music company. Back on Stage was essentially conceived over many decades of live music experience. We are band leaders and musicians ourselves who were just a little frustrated with the typical Dropbox, Google Drive, email, Google Calendar scenario for the way most bands are running. And we wanted to get everything all in one place and make it nice and easy for everybody to access, increase the transparency throughout all our projects, and essentially kind of cure this chronic disorganization throughout our whole industry. So here's the beginnings of that. We are looking at the dashboard right now. So here's the first thing you're going to see when you log into the app as an administrator. Right here at the very top, we've got a list of recently edited bookings. So these are bookings that you've done things on in the last 30 days or so. This is a super helpful section to just get you right back into your work process wherever you left off. So generally speaking, a lot of wedding bands, event bands, we get bookings that, the booking comes in today, but the gig isn't maybe for another 9 or 10 months from now. So you kind of have this flurry of activity around the time when the booking comes in, and then once you've got the contract signed and the deposits in the bank, everything just kind of sits there for a few months. But while that flurry of activity is happening, you're constantly coming back into that booking and changing things and tweaking things and communicating with your client, booking your musicians, etc. So having all those bookings that are really kind of in progress right now, right in your face all the time, is super handy for that part of your work life. So down here in this in progress section, really makes it easy to jump into bookings that might need some real action items to happen sort of pretty urgently. So bookings within the next 30 days show up here. Any payouts due here. This is super handy for seeing a list of all the payouts you currently owe to musicians and people in your band. Over here, bookings with unbooked roles. Those are bookings for which you maybe haven't booked all of your musicians yet, so that can help you get your bookings all taken care of. Overdue contracts require signatures still, so might be good to follow up with those clients today. And same thing with overdue invoices. Those payments are outstanding, so it would be good to check in with those clients as well. So that gives you a really easy bird's eye view into exactly what's going on in your business today, so you can get in and get out fast and get back on stage. So coming down here to the leads section, leads are pretty cool. Let's dive in there for a sec. So leads within Back on Stage are essentially prospects. So there are two components to our lead system. One is the lead form, and the second part is our email follow-up sequence. So the lead form, which we can customize here, is essentially a contact form you can embed on your band's website, which collects your client information about sort of what their event details are, what services of yours they might be interested in. When that gets submitted, all their information comes straight into this system. You'll receive an email notification letting you know about it. And then your email follow-up sequence, which is right down here, automatically begins. So this is a list of emails that you can completely customize. These are triggered at certain time intervals from when that form is initially submitted. The entire goal with this sequence is just to get the conversation going with your client. If you're an experienced band and you've been at this for a while, you're probably familiar with the sort of feeling of getting a lot of inquiries, but maybe not a lot of bites from that. So obviously not all of your inquiries are going to end up booking, but a lot of the time these inquiries don't even have the time of day or decency to reply back to you after your initial reply to them. So the whole idea with our lead process is to eliminate that completely for you. So these lead emails are designed to be set up to engage the client and get a reply from them again, so that you can begin building that relationship and hopefully turn it into a booking. So once a client actually replies to any one of these emails, the system notes that and will automatically stop your automatic sequence so that at that point you can sort of pick up the relationship yourself and move that forward without a robot getting in the way. So that's our lead system, and it makes it really easy for you to keep track of all those clients and move them along there. So coming back to the dashboard now, we have a tasks section here. So this is pulling all the tasks out of your various bookings and putting them in one nice place so you can easily check things off as you get through your day. Unread emails is pretty straight ahead. These are all from your clients going directly into their various bookings. And this is one of our favorite sections here. Something that's generally really hard for a band or a live music company to do is forecast your revenue and also have a really clear picture of your expenses. So we've put that together for you here. You can see all your future invoices coming in. You can see anything that's overdue, any income you've actually made within this certain period. And then, of course, all your payouts. These are to all your musicians and subcontractors, anything overdue, and any other expenses you may have incurred, like flights or travel or anything like that. So here gives you a really nice, clear picture of exactly what's going on in your business. And then lastly, down here, payments to confirm. If a client ever pays you with anything other than their credit card or PayPal through our PayPal integration for your invoices, those payments will show up here. So, pardon me, so that you can confirm those here and make those transactions complete. So that is the dashboard, and I'm going to dive into a booking now so we can see what the actual booking system is like. So this is what a booking page looks like inside Back on Stage. And one thing to note about our system is that it's very booking centric. So just about everything you do in the app is going to be within the context of one of these pages, with the exception of maybe building a set list, dealing with our repertoire, or dealing with your leads that we looked at previously. Just about everything you do is going to be within these pages. So these can be set up as bookings. They could be gigs. They could be actually rehearsals, maybe just a band conversation. There's a ton of functionality built into these pages. So I'm going to show you that as we sort of go through things here. So on the left-hand side, we have your basic event details. We have some client information, location, the shell of your schedule here, as well as some administrator notes and some finance details. And one thing to note here as well is that we actually have two different permission types, two different user types within the app. So we have administrators and we have members or musicians. So the member musician types will not be able to see things like your financial details, administrator notes, your client details. They won't be able to access the client invoice or contract or see how much anybody else is getting paid. So they're really just limited to the gig information they need to get their job done. And they're only able to see the gigs that they're actually booked for. Whereas administrators have full system access to everything. So you can kind of choose who from your team needs to occupy what roles and work accordingly. In the second column over here are services. So services within Back on Stage are essentially your various band configurations or the various things that you sell, the various services you sell to your customers for money. So this is also a really important concept to get a hang of in Back on Stage, because services are essentially like giant templates that are going to tell your entire booking process what to do, from what to put on your client invoice and contract to which musicians need to be booked to fulfill that service and how much you pay them. Lots of things. So we're going to dive into that a little more in a bit, but just know that services are very important. And of course, right under your service here, you can see a set list button. So that ties into our repertoire component within the app, where musicians can actually log in here and see their set list for that particular gig, as well as access any sheet music or reference recordings that accompany any of the songs on the list. Then over here on the right-hand side, we have some additional details, just notes, meal notes, production, parking, any accommodations if you're going out of town. And below that, we have an administrator chat. Again, this is only visible to administrators in your company. This is a lot of band leaders use this basically as a notepad for sort of keeping track of various things regarding this booking that they don't necessarily need everybody to see. So you can see this band leader noted that this was a client referral for this booking. You could note client payment details here or any other sort of arrangements you make with your client. Coming further down here to the tabs section, this band tab will be accessible to all of the band members booked for this particular gig. So they can come in here and post chat messages and talk to each other about the various particulars on this gig. They can also come to this roles section and see who else is booked for which roles on this show. One thing to note here as well is that they will only be able to see the rate amount that pertains to them. So only administrators can see everybody's rates here. In the tasks section here, This is essentially your to-do list area. Everybody can use this area basically for their own tasks, so they can come in here. Whenever you create a task, it's only going to be visible to you unless you assign that task to somebody else, in which case they'll be able to see it as well. So everybody can kind of collaborate in here and work on their own tasks. And one super cool thing about our task section here is that we have what we call relative due dates for tasks. So you can set up task templates. For an example, right here, I've got some client care tasks. I need to ask for song choices, send a final payment reminder, ask for a Google review. These can all be set up to make their own due dates. Like for example, this one is due 60 days before the booking date. My payment reminder is 7 days before the booking date. My Google review will be 1 day after. So I can save these as a template, and later I can recall that template by going here, and I will just add that template on, and then all those tasks will come straight back to this booking, calculate their due dates accordingly, so I know exactly what I need to do for each booking type. So that's a super handy feature. Lastly, over here in the files, this is essentially your Dropbox. You can put anything in here that you need the band to see. This is a great place for stage plots, riders, load-in information, anything like that, so people can come here and access documents anytime. Coming over to the client section now, so we have a built-in email system within Back on Stage that's super handy. You won't have to configure anything, set it up. It comes right out of the box, ready to go. You can email your clients directly from here. They will see your band name in the email name, or whoever sent it, if it's an administrator sent email. And they can come in here and you can come in here and send emails to your clients. Whenever they reply, those emails will come right back to this inbox. You'll also receive a notification to your account email address as well, so you'll know about it. You don't have to file emails, don't have to fuss around with who belongs to what booking anymore. It all comes right back to the right place. In this documents section here, you can send a questionnaire out to your client to gather more gig details so that you've got what you need to put together your invoice and contract, which are all stored here. And I'll show you how we set those up in just a sec. And then the client portal is a place where essentially your client can go to view their contract and invoice. They can sign the document right here, and they can make payments on their invoice here as well. So this is essentially replacing your DocuSign, maybe your QuickBooks, payment flow, whatever. It's all right there for your client. They can download copies of those documents from there as well. Coming over to the finances section now, this is basically your band leader's dream right here. This is summarizing all of your gig payouts that are coming due. So any musicians that are booked for this show will show up here. And then once you've paid everybody, they will show up on this expenses area here. Client income shows up here, so you get a nice little synopsis down here of your profit for this particular show. Paying everybody is one of the best and easiest parts of Back on Stage. We made sure this was going to be super easy for people, so we have an integration with PayPal. All you have to do is click the Pay button, choose the PayPal option in there. In this particular example, John doesn't have PayPal enabled on his account yet, so I can't select it. But if he did, I'd have that PayPal option there. And really all you have to do is click the button down here, and Back on Stage will actually move that money from your PayPal account to your subcontractor's account for you. They'll take care of that. At the same time, Back on Stage automatically generates an invoice for this transaction. So you can send a copy of that invoice to the musician. You can also send it to any administrators that might need to know. And lastly here, this is a great way to integrate with your existing workflow, which may be in QuickBooks or Xero or some other accounting software. A lot of those softwares now, depending on the plan you have, you may have the option to send pictures of your receipts or email in copies of invoices that the software will automatically process and add to your expenses for you. So in that case, you can put that unique email address in here. Back on Stage can send those invoices directly to your bookkeeping software so that those can all be processed really easily for you. So that's how our payment workflow works. Once that payment has been sent, you'll see an invoice button here. You can click on that and immediately be able to see the paper trail for that transaction, which of course you and your musician both have access to anytime. So that's the ease of payments within our system. Now coming over to the show tab here, we have a guest list option. So if you happen to be doing a public show, you can add guest names here. It's super easy to print this off for your door person. In the promo tab, this is information that can be fed to your band's website via our show feed widget. So that's another sort of like your lead form. It's an HTML snippet you can embed on your website. And I just have an example here of a band that has done this. So they have taken our back on stage code and embedded it on their website. So all this show information that you see here is coming straight out of their back on stage account. So they don't have to go manually update their website every time. They've styled this information to fit in very nicely with their website theme. It's totally customizable, but all their show information is there. So whatever they've entered in here will be showing up on that list. And lastly, the social media post scheduler here lets you integrate with your Facebook and Twitter accounts via an app called Hootsuite. And from here, you can actually schedule posts directly to Facebook and Twitter from this gig page. So you can keep track of all of that all in one place. So that is the basic gist of what's going on here on the gig page. And I wanted to dive in a little more deeply into services and, of course, how to book your musicians automatically, because that's something a lot of people are really keen on. So I'm going to dive into the booking creator here and show you exactly how we actually create a booking. Normally, when you create a booking, you can hit this plus button and hit booking. But since we've already got this one created, I'm diving in here. So the booking creator is essentially a one-stop shop where you can come to edit all of your booking details all in one place. So everything we just saw on the previous booking page example is editable within this workflow really nice and easily. So we've got our event date information, client information, status, location, schedule, all of these details. And then coming down here is where we add the services onto the booking. So again, services are the sort of master templates that are going to tell the rest of this booking creator workflow what to do. So it's very important that we set these up properly. Basically, you're going to want to set up a service for each kind of band configuration that you have, each band size. So you can see I've got 5, 7, and 9 piece. I've got cocktail hour, entertainment, production. So these are just some examples. When you create a new service, you're going to fill in these first top 4 fields here, which is essentially are your invoice information. So later when we create an invoice for our client for this gig, Back on Stage is going to know what our title is, what the invoice description is, and so forth. So this is, for example, as a title, we might say 9-piece band. In our description, we could say maybe it's for 2 90-minute sets. We put a price in there. And then coming down here, we're going to tell the system which musicians actually get booked for this service. So who do we need to hire to fulfill this, and how much do we pay them on a typical basis? So this information can all be edited on a gig-by-gig basis, but you're still going to want to sort of put in the essential information here that that kind of lets you sort of ballpark. Sorry about that. Sort of ballpark these estimates in place so that booking this service in the future is really fast and easy for you. So, for example, we're just going to go with the 9-piece band in this example that I had previously selected. And then down here, we've got all our additional details again. We've got accommodation and our guest list. So once we've done that, we would hit save and close. And then our next step would be to come on to the client invoice here. So the client invoice, again, once we created the service and we added the services to that booking in this previous step, now our invoice knows exactly what it needs to do. So all we really have to do is open this up, and it's automatically pre-filled all this information for us. We've got our own company information. We've got our client's information. These dates are preset for us. The 9-piece dance band service shows up right here. We've got our description and price. All we really have to do here is choose whether or not we want a discount on here. Our deposit is already preset here as well. So we're good to go. We can hit save and close. Next, we'll move straight on to the contract. Now within here, you can set up as many contract templates as you want. We can get you started with a sample one there. And then the really cool thing about our contracts is that inside here, we have something called tokens. So if you can see up close here, a token is essentially this little % wrapped text string. These are essentially placeholders that are going to pre-fill with existing booking details for you. So you don't have to keep flipping between screens to find your event details or kind of digging around at all. It'll all just sort of fill in there for you. So the list of tokens you have available are all of your client details, any booking information, load-in sound check times, as well as total amounts from your invoice. So for example, you can see here we've got all our purchaser. We're going to print out all our client details. We've got our service details. We've got our invoice total there. So essentially, you can kind of create one master template that can pretty much apply to all your bookings. You just call it up. It's going to grab all those booking details. And as you can see, when we preview this document, it's already grabbed our client name. It pre-fills this with real existing information. There's our 9-piece dance band service again. It's printing all those details on there for us. Our invoice total, it's all there. So it's really nice and easy to put together a contract. Just select your admin signature, choose whether or not you need your client to sign it, and you're really good to go. Once those two documents are done, just hit this Send Contract and Invoice button to email those over to your client. And again, that'll take them to their client portal where they can sign that contract digitally as well as make invoice payments. The next big step here is to book all of your musicians. When we open up the Book Roles page, all we have to do is come down to this service. And again, when we defined this service earlier, we told it we need drums, bass, guitar, etc. So it knows which members to put on this call list already. Now, I've already booked the players for this particular gig, so you can see everybody's checked off. It's telling me they were all booked. You can see their rate amounts here. So this is all taken care of. But normally when I'd come to this page, when I come to it for the first time for a particular booking, I might see something more like this. So I would see my entire call list of players. I would be able to reorganize. Maybe I owe Getty a gig today, so I'm going to put them at the top of the list. Maybe I need to pay this person a little more money for some reason. So you can make all these kinds of adjustments still on a gig-by-gig basis as much as you need to. And then over here on the left-hand side in the auto book column, this is really your back on stage super weapon. So this is the thing that's going to save all those sleepless nights of trying to remember who you booked for which gig. This initiates our auto book system, which will continually email your members on your call list in order until it finds somebody for each individual role. So for example, when the drums roll is turned on, we're going to start by emailing Ginger here. And based on our settings below here, if I come down to my auto book settings, you can see that the system is going to send gig offers every 6 hours, and that offer will expire after 48 hours. So Ginger will get a first offer right now and again in 6 hours, and they will have until 48 hours to log in here and either accept or decline this gig. If they accept it, it's good to go. If they decline, the system will automatically move on to Bernard and so on until everybody is either booked for your show or we've gone through the entire list and everybody is unavailable. Then you will see this will turn red and say failed, and then you'll know you have to do something else for that particular show. But that's the basic of the Autobook system. Now, if you don't need to use Autobook, maybe you prefer to text people, or maybe you are the bass player in your band, you can just turn that off. It's just going to send a gig confirmation email to the first person on the list. It tells you right here they were booked manually. So in this case, they'll be aware that the gig is happening and they'll get the information they need, but they don't have to actually come in and physically accept the gig. So that's the Autobook system and how that works. One last little tool here that is super cool is our templates feature. You saw me grab it earlier here. So a lot of bands have slightly different configurations, or slightly different lineups, I should say, for the various services they offer. For example, in my 9-piece band example here, maybe I have an in-town version, and then maybe there are a bunch of guys in my band that just don't like to travel, or maybe I need to pay everybody a little more when they do travel. So you can actually set up templates kind of within templates. So within here, I can say, for example, take a look at this. Right now, my list here has a whole bunch of names on it. Everybody's rate is $400. If I choose my out-of-town template, suddenly everybody's rate is up to $500. I've preset this. I've taken the people off the list that don't like to travel. I've reorganized things a little bit. So without having to set up a completely different service up here, I can just come in here and create a new template that just grabs the specific configuration of musicians. So this could also be used for like an A band or a B band situation. Maybe you have a different lineup of players that you send out in different instances. So that can all be accommodated here. And then lastly, down here at the very bottom, once you're ready to go with everybody, all you have to do is hit that book roles button, and we are good to go. This will initiate everybody's offers, and off we go. We can see they're all in progress. Now, at any point, we can come back to the booking page here. If we scroll down to this section and open up the roles page, we can see that everybody here is pending. That means their gig offers are on the way. As soon as somebody is booked, this will turn green and say booked. And again, if that entire list is exhausted and nobody's available, this will turn red and say failed. So that is how the auto book system works, and that is going to save you a ton of time. So that's a really good sort of view into the booking system and how to create a booking. I wanted to show you really quickly before we end here today how the repertoire tools work. So within the repertoire section is where we create set lists. And in fact, I'm just going to jump in here to this set list I've added onto this gig we've been looking at first. So when I click on this, up comes my set list. You can see here that we have a lot of information right off the bat. We've got the song title and the key. Within here, we can choose to display a whole bunch of other options that we also have. So maybe I want to see the song artist. Maybe I want to see who's singing it tonight. Let's turn on the vocalist and the tempo and the length. So from within here, I can see that tonight, my singer named Jackie is supposed to be singing this song. David will sing this song, and so on. We have a tempo tapper here. That can be used for drummers if they need to tap a tempo out, and then the length of the song there as well. Within the song cards themselves, you can access a whole bunch of other information. So we've got our reference recording loaded up here. All our musicians can come here anytime and practice along with that. And then all the sheet music here as well. I'm logged in as an administrator right now, so I can see all the sheet music that I've uploaded for this particular song. But for example, if I was logged in as the trumpet player today, all I would see is the trumpet part. So all your musicians only kind of see what information they need to see. So for example, if I was using this set list on a gig and I wanted to see my sheet music, I would just have to open that up. And again, these sort of format differently on an iPad. This is a scalable app, so if you load this up on an iPad, you won't see these big black borders here. Everybody just kind of sees the sheet music that they need. So that is what the set lists themselves actually look like. And in order to sort of build a set list, all you have to do is come over here to this repertoire tool. You're going to open that up. You'll begin by adding all of your songs into the system here. You can do that manually one by one on this new song button here, or import a spreadsheet right there. Once all those are in the system, essentially you can add your titles, your key, your artist, your BPM length, choose which singers in your band do that song, and of course your audio, a video link, or any sheet music resources can all be added there. So this sheet music library is only editable by your administrators, but all of your musicians can come here anytime if they need to learn their music or work on things. And then over here is where we have our set list builder. I'm actually not going to dive into how we build set lists right here because we do have a demo right here inside the app itself, which can guide you through that process. So just know that it's there and it's waiting for you when you're ready to get all your repertoire in here. So that is a brief synopsis of the Back on Stage app. As you can see, I've done we've sort of done a deep dive into a lot of stuff here, so that may be a little overwhelming. But do give it a try. We've got a 30-day free trial that gives you plenty of time to step in here and really see what things are all about. At any time, you can reach out to us via this chat box down here. We're always happy to help you get your account set up. And of course, reach out to any one of our friendly staff to set up a video call with you at any point. And we're more than happy to help you get your bookings in here, give you a little tutorial on your own, and really kind of massage the system to make it work for your unique needs, because it is quite a flexible system as well. So hopefully that really helped you get a better idea of what is available to you here inside Back on Stage. Hopefully you'll give us a try. Please click the link beside this video if you'd like to start your free trial today, and we hope to see you on the other side. Thanks so much.